The galaxy had been watching Earth with quiet curiosity for decades. Humans were not considered a major power among the interstellar civilizations, but they were different. Their resilience, creativity, and sheer unpredictability made them unique. Earth's leader, a figure admired not only on the planet, but also in distant human colonies scattered across star systems, had brought unprecedented stability. Under their guidance, humanity had achieved remarkable advancements in technology, diplomacy, and space exploration. The leader had a vision of uniting humanity while maintaining a cautious but respectful presence among alien civilizations. Every major decision seemed calculated, every speech inspiring, and every treaty carefully negotiated to maintain peace without showing weakness. People trusted their leader completely, believing that as long as this figure stood at the helm, Earth would remain safe. On the surface, everything appeared calm. Cities sparkled with advanced technology, massive spaceports buzzed with the movement of starships, and people carried on with their daily lives almost unaware of the fragile balance their planet maintained in the vast galaxy. Children played in parks under artificial domes that protected them from harsh climates. Workers traveled in silent maglev transports, and scientists explored both Earth and distant planets for new discoveries. News outlets frequently broadcasted updates on diplomatic efforts, trade negotiations, and cultural exchanges with alien races, reinforcing the sense of normalcy. Yet, behind this serene exterior, tensions in the galaxy were simmering. Alien civilizations, particularly the older and more powerful ones, had noticed Earth's rapid rise. Some envied humanity's ingenuity, others feared it. While humans looked outward in curiosity and hope, some aliens saw only potential threats. Rumors of secret alien councils and covert missions reached Earth's intelligence networks, but many dismissed them as exaggerations. The truth was far more dangerous. In distant star systems, powerful alien leaders quietly plotted, discussing whether humanity should be contained before it became too strong. The calm on Earth was deceptive. The storm was brewing in places humans could not see. Within Earth's government, the leader continued to focus on progress. They initiated programs to enhance planetary defenses, improve interstellar communication, and strengthen alliances with other friendly civilizations. Humans were taught to explore, to innovate, and to believe in their ability to overcome challenges. The leader's speeches often emphasized unity, courage, and adaptability, values that had long kept humanity alive against natural disasters, global conflicts, and political unrest. Citizens responded with enthusiasm and loyalty. They built infrastructures, launched research missions, and participated in diplomatic exchanges with alien representatives. There was a strong sense that humanity was stepping into a new era, one where it could claim its place among the stars not as a minor player, but as a force to be respected. Despite the outward peace, small signs of unease began to surface. Earth's intelligence agencies reported unusual anomalies. Unidentified starships hovering at the edges of the solar system, strange communications from distant systems, and signals that did not match any known alien technology. Analysts debated whether these were routine occurrences, exploration missions, or reconnaissance from civilizations with unknown intentions. The leader, wise and careful, instructed teams to monitor these developments closely while not causing public panic. Maintaining the image of calm and control was vital. Fear could spread faster than knowledge, and humanity's unity was its strongest asset. Life on Earth itself carried on in this delicate balance. Ordinary people were oblivious to the interstellar politics swirling above them. Families dined in futuristic homes, students attended schools with holographic teachers, and workers maintained massive orbital facilities that orbited the planet. Earth was vibrant, alive, and confident in its progress. Yet, there was an undercurrent of tension, like the quiet before a storm. People sensed changes in the galaxy even if they could not name them. Some felt it in news reports, others in scientific anomalies, and a few, particularly those in intelligence or military sectors, recognized the pattern of an approaching threat. But these warnings were scattered and lacked a clear picture. The leader's personal life reflected the same careful balance. Behind closed doors, they reviewed classified reports, conferred with trusted advisors, and strategized for multiple possible scenarios. They were aware of humanity's vulnerabilities, the fragility of alliances, and the unpredictable nature of alien politics. Still, they carried themselves with a calm and reassuring presence in public. Their charisma and confidence were not just for show. They were a tool to unify humanity against unseen dangers. Every interaction, every policy, and every gesture was designed to strengthen trust and inspire hope. As the days passed, Earth's defenses quietly grew stronger. Starships were upgraded, defensive systems enhanced, and communication networks extended across colonies. Scientists worked on technologies that could give humans an edge in unexpected conflicts. Diplomats forged new relationships with alien races who promised friendship, even as others plotted in shadows. Humanity had built a network of resilience, skill, and courage, though it had yet to be tested in the most extreme way. In these moments, the calm before the storm felt almost tangible. It was a peace born not from the absence of threats but from preparation, intelligence, and the unshakable belief in human potential. Citizens went about their lives, believing in the protection of their leader and the promise of a bright future. Meanwhile, distant watchers in the galaxy took note, some with curiosity, some with envy, and some with lethal intent. The stage was set, unknowingly to most, for events that would shake humanity to its core, testing the very limits of courage, unity, and survival. And so Earth waited. Its leader stood as the beacon of hope. Humanity thrived in its achievements, and the galaxy turned its eyes toward this seemingly peaceful planet. But in the shadows, plans were unfolding that would soon pierce this calm, turning a world of progress and optimism into the center of an interstellar crisis. The calm before the storm was over. Soon, humanity would face challenges that no one had imagined, and the resilience of a species long underestimated would be put to the ultimate test. Far from Earth, in a distant star system cloaked in darkness, powerful alien leaders gathered in secret. The Council of Elders, as they were known, had ruled over countless civilizations for millennia. These were beings of immense intellect and advanced technology, whose influence shaped the political and military landscape of the galaxy. They observed Earth closely, watching its rapid rise with growing unease. Humanity's achievements, once dismissed as primitive, now demanded attention. Starships that could travel light years in days, energy weapons that rivaled their own, and the unyielding spirit of humans sparked a mixture of fear, curiosity, and envy among the council members. The council chamber was a massive structure floating in orbit around a dead star. Its walls shimmered with projections of star maps, communications logs, and reports from reconnaissance units scattered across the galaxy. Each council member represented a different civilization, each with its own motives and ambitions. Some favored diplomacy, while others preferred preemptive aggression. Yet they all agreed on one thing: Earth could not be allowed to grow unchecked. At the center of the discussion was the human leader. Known for uniting the planet and its colonies, this figure had gained respect not only among humans but also from a few more neutral alien factions. The council debated whether eliminating this leader could prevent humanity from becoming a dominant force in the galaxy. Some argued for patience, suggesting observation and containment. Others warned that waiting too long could be dangerous. A faction of warlike species, impatient and ruthless, pressed the hardest for immediate action. They saw Earth as a rising threat, a small but unpredictable player whose unpredictable courage could disrupt centuries of galactic control. A shadowy figure emerged from the council, a specialist in covert operations, whose reputation was both feared and whispered about in every corner of the galaxy. This operative had been trained for a single purpose: to execute missions with precision, leaving no trace. The council tasked this figure with a mission that would change the fate of Earth forever: assassinate its leader. It was a decision cloaked in secrecy. Only a handful of council members knew the full details, and even fewer believed the mission could succeed. Back on Earth, there was no indication of the plotting in the shadows. The planet's intelligence networks were focused on routine monitoring, exploring distant planets, studying alien communications, and tracking anomalies near human colonies. They detected occasional blips and unidentified signals, but nothing pointed to an immediate threat. Life continued with its usual rhythm. Children went to school, cities thrived, and diplomats prepared for upcoming interstellar summits. The calm of Earth contrasted sharply with the tension building in the Council's hidden chamber. The Council's discussions were intense and layered. Every member weighed the consequences carefully. Assassination was not merely a political act, it was a dangerous gamble. If the mission failed, humans would retaliate with full force, and the Council itself could face unprecedented resistance. Yet, the operative had convinced them that success was possible. The plan relied on stealth, timing, and exploiting Earth's trust in its leader. The humans' faith, which made them strong in public, would ironically make them vulnerable in private. As the plan took shape, the operative studied Earth meticulously. Every detail was noted: the leader's daily routines, security protocols, public appearances, and even personal habits. The operative observed from distant satellites, cloaked reconnaissance ships, and agents embedded in human society. Nothing was too small to escape scrutiny. Even the subtle movements of Earth's fleets and the response patterns of its intelligence networks were carefully analyzed. The Council was confident. They believed that one decisive strike could destabilize humanity long enough for them to assert control or eliminate the perceived threat entirely. While the Council plotted, other alien factions watched quietly. Not all agreed with the plan. Some feared that interfering with humanity might unite the planet in unexpected ways. They remembered stories of species that had underestimated smaller civilizations, only to see them rise with unprecedented force. A few whispered warnings to the Council, suggesting caution, but these voices were drowned out by the dominant faction's urgency. Pride, fear, and ambition had merged into a dangerous momentum that could not be easily stopped. Back on Earth, preparations continued for the interstellar summit. Humans were excited, unaware of the storm approaching. Delegates from multiple alien civilizations were scheduled to attend, representing diplomacy, trade, and cooperation. Security measures were tight, but they focused on conventional threats, pirates, technical failures, and known hostile species. The Council's operative counted on this overconfidence. Humans had never faced an enemy of this level, and their reliance on technology and trust in diplomacy created exploitable blind spots. The stage was set for a moment that would ripple across the galaxy. The Council's operative knew that success depended on precision, patience, and the element of surprise. The humans were skilled, clever, and resourceful, but they were unprepared for an enemy operating entirely in the shadows, motivated by fear and ambition rather than reason. The Council members, confident in their plan, began finalizing their orders, knowing that the mission would test not just the operative's abilities, but also the limits of human resilience. Unseen and unknown, Earth moved forward, blissfully unaware of the impending danger. Citizens continued their daily routines, leaders discussed future projects, and diplomats finalized agreements with distant worlds. The calm of the planet, the trust in its leadership, and the sense of stability created a deceptive sense of security. In the galaxy's hidden corners, however, forces were aligning for a strike that would shatter this illusion, challenging humanity in ways it had never imagined. In this quiet before chaos, the contrast between Earth's apparent peace and the Council's shadowy plotting could not have been greater. On one side was confidence, unity, and hope. On the other, fear, ambition, and meticulous planning. The first moves of an invisible war were being made, and the fate of a species rested on the precipice of a single, decisive act. The shadows were deepening, and humanity's future was about to collide with the dark intentions of a council that believed it controlled the galaxy. The day of the interstellar summit dawned bright and clear on Earth. Cities sparkled under the light of multiple suns in orbital stations and on terraformed planets, while the human leader prepared for what was supposed to be a historic moment of unity and diplomacy. Delegates from dozens of alien civilizations were arriving, each representing their own interests and ambitions. The summit promised discussions on trade, cultural exchange, and galactic collaboration. Citizens watched eagerly from home, trusting that their leader would navigate these complex negotiations with wisdom and skill. The atmosphere was electric, filled with optimism and pride. Humanity was on display before the galaxy, showing its progress, strength, and unity. But hidden in the crowd, unseen by anyone, were forces intent on ending this moment of peace. The Council's operative had infiltrated the summit, blending seamlessly with the delegates and security personnel. Every movement, gesture, and system had been analyzed in advance. The operative's equipment allowed for surveillance, communication, and control from a distance, ensuring that the plan could adapt in real time. Months of preparation, careful observation, and detailed knowledge of human security routines made the mission possible. The operative had studied the leader's public appearances, noting predictable habits and potential vulnerabilities. Every detail of the summit, from the layout of the conference hall to the timing of speeches, had been meticulously planned. Inside the summit, the human leader stood on a grand stage, addressing the assembly with calm authority. Their speech praised cooperation, celebrated human achievements, and extended a hand of friendship to the attending civilizations. Cameras broadcasted the event across multiple star systems, and millions of humans and aliens watched with admiration. Every gesture, every word, reinforced the leader's image as a figure of wisdom, strength, and inspiration. Yet, the very confidence and predictability that made the leader so respected also made them vulnerable. The operative relied on this predictability, knowing that humans would focus on diplomacy rather than danger. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. A quiet signal, almost imperceptible, activated the first stage of the plan. The operative's tools manipulated the summit's security systems, creating temporary blind spots in surveillance and communications. Moments later, a small, precise weapon, disguised as part of the summit's equipment, was triggered. The strike was swift, silent, and nearly invisible to the untrained eye. Panic erupted as the leader was struck, collapsing before the stunned assembly. Chaos filled the hall. Delegates screamed, security personnel rushed, and alarms blared. But the operative moved with precision, using the confusion as cover to slip away unnoticed. Across the planet, news feeds erupted with the shocking announcement. Earth's leader had been assassinated. The world froze in disbelief. Humans could not comprehend how such a tragedy could happen, especially during a high-profile event meant to celebrate progress and unity. Citizens watched in horror as images of the collapsed leader circulated, and theories spread like wildfire. Governments convened emergency meetings, trying to determine what had happened and how to respond. Fear, anger, and confusion gripped the population, threatening to overwhelm the systems that maintained order. Military commanders immediately mobilized defensive measures, but there was uncertainty about the source and scale of the threat. Was this a rogue attack, or the beginning of a larger assault? Intelligence agencies worked frantically to track unusual signals, movements, and potential infiltrators, but the operative had already vanished into the shadows. Meanwhile, human colonies across distant planets received the news, sparking panic and outrage. The sense of security that humanity had maintained for centuries was shattered in an instant. Amid the chaos, the human leadership struggled to maintain calm. Advisors, ministers, and generals worked tirelessly to coordinate responses, secure critical systems, and prevent public panic from turning into widespread disorder. Emergency broadcasts encouraged citizens to remain vigilant while assuring them that humanity's forces were strong and capable. The leader's death, however, left a void that could not easily be filled. Their vision, guidance, and unifying presence had been the cornerstone of humanity's confidence. Without them, uncertainty loomed large, and every decision carried the weight of survival. The assassin's strike, though carefully planned, revealed an unexpected truth. Humans were more resilient than anticipated. Even in shock, governments coordinated swiftly, citizens supported one another, and military forces prepared for a counterstrike. The operative had anticipated fear, chaos, and confusion, but underestimated the innate courage and adaptability of humans. Across the planet, people began organizing, protecting communities, and securing vital infrastructure. In distant colonies, leaders rallied fleets, ready to defend humanity and avenge their fallen leader. The assassination had not broken the spirit of humanity, it had awakened it. Meanwhile, the Alien Council monitored the aftermath with mixed emotions. Some celebrated the apparent success, believing that destabilizing humanity would be sufficient to prevent further threats. Others, however, observed the rapid human response with growing concern. The very unpredictability that had once seemed like a weakness now became evident as humans adapted, coordinated, and fought to regain control. The Council began to realize that underestimating this species had been a dangerous mistake. Back on Earth, the stage of the summit became a symbol of both tragedy and defiance. Citizens honored their fallen leader, holding vigils, broadcasting messages of unity, and sharing stories of courage and hope. The assassination had been a dark, devastating blow, but it also revealed the strength, determination, and resilience that humanity possessed in abundance. Leaders emerged from the shadows of grief, ready to step into roles of responsibility, guiding the planet through one of its darkest hours. In the midst of the shock and chaos, one thing became clear. The assassination, while momentarily devastating, had ignited a fire within humanity. It had exposed vulnerabilities, yes, but also the capacity for courage, strategy, and unity that no alien force had fully anticipated. The world had witnessed the death of a leader, but it had also glimpsed the emergence of a collective resolve that would define the coming struggle. Humanity, though stunned, was preparing to face an enemy far greater than it had ever imagined, and the galaxy would soon learn that even in loss, humans were capable of extraordinary defiance. The calm of Earth was gone. The shadows had struck, and a deadly reality had arrived. Yet within this storm, humanity's spirit burned brighter than ever. The assassination was only the beginning, a catalyst that would force humans to rise, fight, and prove that they were not to be underestimated. In the quiet moments after the initial chaos, the world braced itself, knowing that the true test had just begun, and that the response to this act of terror would shape the destiny of the species for generations to come. The assassination of Earth's leader had sent shockwaves through the planet, shaking citizens to their very core. Panic, grief, and anger swept across cities and colonies alike. News feeds carried endless updates, broadcasting images of the summit hall in chaos, the stunned delegates, and the immediate response of Earth's security forces. For a moment, it seemed that the world was on the brink of collapse. But as the hours passed, a remarkable transformation began to take shape. The people of Earth, united by shared grief and a fierce sense of loyalty to their fallen leader, began to rally together. Humanity, for all its individualism and differences, found a common purpose: survival and justice. In government halls, military command centers, and civilian organizations, leaders acted with urgency. The assassination had left a vacuum of authority, but it also created an opportunity for humanity to demonstrate its resilience. High-ranking officials coordinated emergency protocols, secured vital infrastructure, and ensured that communication networks remained operational. Plans that had been quietly prepared for potential crises were now activated. These were not just measures of defense. They were symbols of humanity's ability to act decisively, even under extreme pressure. Across continents and colonies, the message was clear: Earth was not defeated, and it would not bow to fear. The human military, both on Earth and in its far-flung colonies, responded with extraordinary speed. Fleets that had long been maintained in secrecy were mobilized, ready to protect planetary systems and respond to potential threats. Pilots, engineers, and strategists worked tirelessly, coordinating maneuvers across vast distances. Ships that had been reserved for emergencies or experimental missions were now deployed in full readiness. Humanity's forces were no longer merely reactive. They were preparing to take the fight to anyone who threatened their home. The assassination, meant to destabilize Earth, had instead galvanized it into action. Citizens, too, played a vital role. From small communities to entire cities, people organized emergency shelters, volunteer response teams, and local security initiatives. Ordinary humans, who had never before faced interstellar warfare, displayed courage and ingenuity. Engineers repaired critical systems, scientists analyzed incoming data from reconnaissance satellites, and communities protected one another from potential chaos. Humanity's strength lay not only in its military might but in its unity, the willingness of millions to act together for a common goal. Even distant colonies, previously somewhat independent, synchronized their actions with Earth. Communication channels, secure and encrypted, linked leaders, military strategists, and scientific teams across the galaxy. Decisions were made collectively, informed by shared intelligence and a commitment to survival. Plans were drawn not just to defend humanity, but to assert its presence in the galaxy in ways that alien powers could not ignore. The assassination, intended to divide and weaken humanity, had instead created a web of coordination and determination that would be formidable in the coming battles. Amid the rapid mobilization, one theme dominated every discussion: honoring the fallen leader's vision. Their ideals of unity, courage, and adaptability became guiding principles for the response. Human fleets and defense systems were not merely acting out of fear or revenge. They were executing strategies informed by the leader's long-term plans for survival and growth. Every decision, from the deployment of starships to the organization of colonies, reflected a commitment to the leader's legacy. Humanity's collective memory of the leader became a source of strength, inspiring individuals to act with precision, creativity, and courage. The council that had orchestrated the assassination could not have anticipated this. They had assumed that fear and chaos would dominate, that humans would falter under the shock of losing their unifying figure. Instead, they observed a species capable of rapid adaptation, capable of organizing at an unprecedented scale. The very qualities that had made humans underestimated, their unpredictability, creativity, and emotional resilience, now became their greatest weapons. Each response, each coordinated action, revealed a species far more dangerous than the Council had imagined. On Earth, cities became hubs of communication and coordination. Major metropolitan centers served as command nodes, linking planetary defense systems, intelligence agencies, and civilian volunteers. Scientists and engineers worked together to enhance existing weapons, develop new defensive technologies, and ensure that every colony had access to resources and guidance. At the same time, military leaders conducted simulations, planning for every possible scenario, from small-scale skirmishes to full-scale invasions. The speed and efficiency with which humanity adapted to the crisis was a testament to centuries of preparation, ingenuity, and foresight. Morale, though tested, remained remarkably high. Across the globe, people held vigils, not in despair, but in defiance. They celebrated the life and achievements of their leader while reaffirming their commitment to protect humanity. Stories of courage and ingenuity spread rapidly, reinforcing the collective belief that no threat could crush the human spirit. In homes, workplaces, and colonies, individuals found ways to contribute, repairing systems, sharing intelligence, supporting military efforts, or simply maintaining order within their communities. Humanity's response was holistic, blending strategy, creativity, and emotional resilience into a single, unstoppable force. By the time the first reports of alien reconnaissance fleets appeared near Earth's borders, the planet and its colonies were already prepared. Human ships patrolled the edges of the solar system, defense grids were activated, and strategic command centers coordinated responses in real time. The assassination, intended to create weakness, had inadvertently revealed the full strength of humanity. Every citizen, leader, and soldier had been reminded of what it meant to be human. Resourceful, determined, and united against any threat, no matter how overwhelming. The stage was now set for the next phase of the conflict. Humanity had transformed grief into determination, fear into courage, and chaos into order. The assassination that had shocked the world had also ignited a force far greater than any council could have anticipated. The collective will of a species determined to survive and protect its home. The calm that once defined Earth was gone, replaced by a coordinated, resolute humanity ready to face the galaxy with unstoppable strength. The news of humanity's rapid response to the assassination had reached the alien council in the distant reaches of the galaxy. What they had hoped would be panic, fear, and confusion instead revealed a species united and prepared to fight back. The Council, particularly the warlike factions that had demanded the assassination, seethed with frustration and disbelief. Their carefully planned strike had failed to destabilize Earth. Instead, humans had rallied, coordinated, and transformed grief into action with extraordinary speed. It was clear that if they wanted to subdue humanity, they would need to act openly and decisively. Alien fleets, massive and terrifying in scale, were mobilized. Ships larger than entire human cities, armed with energy weapons capable of destroying planets, moved silently through space toward the solar system. Reconnaissance drones, previously hidden in the outer reaches, transmitted continuous data about human movements, defense positions, and fleet formations. Every decision the aliens made was informed by the belief that humans, despite their resilience, were still young and untested compared to the galaxy's older civilizations. They assumed that sheer overwhelming force would crush humanity in a matter of hours, if not minutes. Back on Earth, humanity was prepared, but even so, the scale of the alien armada was shocking. Radar screens, satellite feeds, and space observatories showed hundreds of massive warships approaching, their energy signatures unlike anything humans had ever encountered. The size alone was enough to inspire fear, but humanity did not falter. Commanders and strategists, drawing on both their leaders' legacy and years of careful preparation, immediately deployed defensive measures. Starships were positioned to intercept, planetary shields were activated, and energy cannons calibrated to precise frequencies were brought online. Every available resource, human and technological, was now focused on survival. The first strike came without warning. Alien energy beams tore through the void, targeting human defense satellites and orbital installations. Explosions lit up space, and shockwaves rippled across planetary surfaces. Yet humanity had anticipated these attacks. Automated defense systems intercepted many of the projectiles, while mobile human fleets maneuvered with precision, using tactics the aliens had not predicted. For every system damaged, humans countered, striking alien scouts and smaller vessels before they could relay intelligence back to the main fleets. Humanity's unpredictability frustrated the aliens. They had expected a quick, compliant victory. Instead, they encountered resistance that was fast, clever, and coordinated. Human pilots, engineers, and soldiers fought with unmatched courage. Pilots maneuvered starships in daring formations, exploiting weaknesses in alien patterns and forcing them into vulnerable positions. Engineers on space stations and ships worked tirelessly, repairing damage in real time and recalibrating weapons to counter alien technology. Even civilians played a role, assisting in logistics, communications, and intelligence gathering. The sheer adaptability of humans became a weapon as lethal as any energy cannon. Every action, every strategy, and every decision reflected the training, ingenuity, and unity that had been fostered over centuries. As the battle escalated, alien fleets realized that brute force alone would not win. Their warships, though massive and powerful, struggled to predict human strategies. Humans used unconventional tactics, including decoys, surprise maneuvers, and rapid counterattacks. The aliens, accustomed to predictable and hierarchical enemy behavior, found themselves outmatched in creativity. Every engagement demonstrated that while humans might be smaller and younger, they possessed an innate resourcefulness that no ancient civilization had fully accounted for. Meanwhile, Earth's colonies across the galaxy were not idle. Messages from the Central Command coordinated fleets at the edges of human-controlled space. Remote colonies launched strike teams, deployed hidden defensive systems, and transmitted critical intelligence back to Earth. The alien assumption that humanity's influence was limited to the home planet proved disastrously wrong. Humans, connected by advanced communication networks and unified by a shared purpose, created a web of resistance that extended far beyond the solar system. The aliens' overwhelming numbers were mitigated by human coordination, speed, and ingenuity. The intensity of the conflict revealed something deeper about humanity. Its resilience was not merely physical but psychological. Citizens endured air raid alerts, resource shortages, and constant uncertainty, yet morale remained high. Stories of heroism, quick thinking, and sacrifice spread rapidly, inspiring others to act. Communities adapted to the crisis with innovation and determination. While alien fleets were designed to intimidate and destroy, they instead encountered a species that refused to be cowed. Every setback for humanity was met with adaptation, and every victory fueled further determination. In the midst of battle, communication between Earth's Central Command and its fleets emphasized one central message. Survival and defense were paramount, but retaliation was inevitable. Every strategy, from intercepting alien ships to protecting colonies, included plans for counterattacks. Humans were not just defending, they were learning, analyzing alien weaknesses, and preparing to strike back with precision. Each engagement, while dangerous, also provided valuable intelligence that would be used in the coming phases of the conflict. The aliens, for all their experience and technology, were beginning to understand that they faced a species whose greatest weapon was its unpredictability and tenacity. As the first day of battle concluded, human forces had inflicted surprising damage. Several alien ships were destroyed, others severely crippled, and many more had been forced to retreat temporarily to reassess their strategies. Human losses were present but minimized due to careful planning, quick adaptation, and the bravery of countless individuals. Across the galaxy, humans celebrated small victories while preparing for the larger battles to come. The alien assumption that humanity could be crushed with overwhelming force had been proven dangerously wrong. By the end of the initial engagement, one truth became clear. Humanity had survived the first strike of an alien armada that had intended to annihilate them. The retaliation had begun not with terror, but with courage, intelligence, and unity. The alien forces, once confident in their superiority, now faced a species that refused to submit, one that adapted and fought with relentless determination. The stage was set for a prolonged struggle, one in which human ingenuity and resilience would be tested to the fullest, and the galaxy would soon recognize that even the most advanced civilizations could underestimate the indomitable spirit of humanity. The initial alien assault had shocked humanity, but it had also revealed an undeniable truth. Humans were far more capable and adaptable than the Council had ever imagined. The first day of battle had been intense, testing every skill, strategy, and ounce of courage that humanity possessed. Yet, instead of being crushed, humans had endured, learned, and adapted. This resilience marked the beginning of the turning point, the moment when humanity would shift from defense to offense, surprising even the most confident alien commanders. Human leaders and strategists spent hours analyzing the outcomes of each skirmish. Every movement of the alien fleet, every tactical choice, and every weakness observed became part of a growing database of intelligence. Engineers studied alien technology, decoding energy signatures and weapon patterns. Pilots shared experiences, noting patterns in maneuvers and vulnerabilities in ship formations. The military, previously focused on defense, now began to design counterattacks that exploited the alien fleet's assumptions. Humans had learned that adaptability and unpredictability were their greatest assets. On Earth and across human colonies, morale had shifted from fear to determination. Stories of heroism and innovation spread like wildfire, inspiring people to push harder, think faster, and act smarter. Even those who were not directly involved in combat contributed in meaningful ways. Scientists developed new energy shields and advanced targeting algorithms, engineers upgraded weapons, and communications officers ensured that all fleets and colonies remained in perfect synchronization. The combined effort of millions of humans across countless systems transformed the planet and its colonies into a coordinated, war machine, ready to respond with precision and speed. The aliens, confident in their overwhelming power, found themselves facing an enemy they could not predict. Humans no longer reacted passively. They initiated strikes designed to disrupt, confuse, and weaken the alien formations. Small, agile human fleets darted through enemy lines, targeting critical components while avoiding direct engagement with the largest ships. Decoys and electronic interference were used to mislead alien sensors, creating openings for devastating attacks. Where the aliens expected chaos and panic, they found precision, discipline, and coordination. Each successful counterattack strengthened human confidence and further demoralized the alien forces. Human ingenuity was evident in every engagement. Engineers on fast-response ships developed portable energy dampeners that temporarily disabled alien weapons, allowing human pilots to maneuver with minimal risk. Scientists created algorithms capable of predicting enemy movements based on previous patterns, enabling humans to anticipate attacks and strike preemptively. Civilians contributed by managing logistics, repairing damaged vessels, and maintaining essential infrastructure, ensuring that the fight could continue without interruption. The full spectrum of human talent, from intelligence analysts to everyday citizens, was now a weapon in the war against the invaders. One of the most significant aspects of this turning tide was the psychological effect on both sides. Human soldiers and pilots, initially fearful, now felt emboldened. They understood that despite the alien fleet's superior technology and firepower, humans could fight strategically, strike decisively, and survive even in the most dangerous situations. This confidence translated into bold maneuvers, daring rescues, and highly effective counterattacks that the aliens had not anticipated. Conversely, the alien fleet, used to encountering subservient or predictable species, began to experience confusion and hesitation. Their previous assumptions about human behavior proved dangerously flawed. Humanity's ability to adapt extended beyond immediate combat. Remote colonies, previously on the defensive, began launching their own preemptive strikes against smaller alien outposts and supply lines. These operations disrupted enemy communications, slowed reinforcements, and created chaos within the alien command structure. Humans leveraged knowledge gained from earlier battles to design coordinated multi-front strategies, forcing the aliens to spread their forces thin. Every action demonstrated that humans were not merely reactive. They were thinking, learning, and evolving in real time. Back on Earth, leaders emphasized the importance of unity and coordination. Military councils, scientific advisory boards, and civilian committees worked together seamlessly. Plans were revised constantly based on new intelligence, and decision-making became rapid yet precise. This level of collaboration, spanning entire planets and star systems, created a network of response that no alien fleet could anticipate. The turning tide was not just about winning battles. It was about demonstrating that humanity as a whole, from soldiers to civilians, could act as one unstoppable force. The aliens, frustrated by repeated failures and unexpected human ingenuity, began to alter their strategies, often making mistakes in the process. Overconfidence in their advanced technology led to miscalculations, exposing vulnerabilities that humans quickly exploited. Small tactical victories for humanity grew in significance, not just in terms of physical damage inflicted on the alien fleet, but also in morale and momentum. Every victory reinforced the idea that humans could not only survive but dominate in unexpected ways. By the end of this phase of the conflict, humanity had achieved more than just survival. They had transformed from a seemingly defenseless species into a formidable force capable of challenging the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. The Alien Council, once confident that fear would control humanity, now realized that they faced a species whose courage, intelligence, and adaptability were far beyond what they had anticipated. The tide of the battle had shifted. Humans, once on the defensive, were now capable of taking the initiative, striking where the enemy was weakest, and forcing the aliens to react. In this moment, humanity understood its own potential. The turning of the tide was not simply about strategy or technology. It was about spirit, unity, and relentless determination. The assassination that had sparked chaos, the alien armada meant to crush them, and the overwhelming odds that seemed insurmountable had all combined to awaken the full force of human capability. What had begun as a desperate fight for survival had now become a demonstration of human ingenuity, courage, and resilience. The galaxy was beginning to notice. Even distant civilizations, who had previously dismissed humanity as a minor player, started to recognize the unexpected strength and resolve of this species. Humans were no longer merely defending, they were actively shaping the outcome of the conflict, proving that underestimated species could rise, adapt, and dominate in ways that no one, not even the most advanced alien council could predict. The galaxy held its breath as humanity prepared for the final confrontation. After weeks of intense battles, strategic maneuvers, and calculated strikes, humans had gained the upper hand. Yet, the war was far from over. The Alien Council's operatives, the masterminds behind the assassination of Earth's leader, had retreated to their hidden stronghold, a heavily fortified station deep within uncharted space. This was the heart of the enemy's command, the place where plans were crafted and victories orchestrated. Humanity knew that to secure lasting peace, they had to reach it. The mission would be dangerous, but the resolve of humans had grown stronger with every challenge they faced. Commanders on Earth coordinated the final strike with precision. Fleets from across the colonies converged, forming a network of attack and defense that stretched across light years. Each fleet had a specific role. Some would engage the outer defenses, drawing attention and fire. Others would provide intelligence, scanning for hidden traps, and the elite strike team, composed of the most skilled pilots and soldiers, would infiltrate the enemy stronghold. Every move was planned, every contingency considered, and every participant knew that failure was not an option. This was humanity's defining moment, the culmination of strategy, courage, and ingenuity. The journey to the alien stronghold was treacherous. Vast fields of asteroids, cloaked debris, and gravitational anomalies had been deliberately positioned to protect the Council's station. Human pilots navigated these hazards with exceptional skill, relying on instinct, training, and advanced navigation technology. Each obstacle was a test, not only of skill but of courage, as a single mistake could mean destruction for an entire squadron. Yet, humans pressed forward, undeterred by the danger, knowing that the survival of their species and the avenging of their fallen leader depended on success. As they approached the enemy stronghold, sensors detected defensive fleets, automated turrets, and energy shields of immense strength. The Alien Council had anticipated a human assault, but they had underestimated how humans had evolved since the assassination. The first waves of human forces engaged the outer defenses, drawing fire while simultaneously analyzing weaknesses. Agile ships darted between enemy fire, launching precision attacks that systematically dismantled the outer barriers. Every maneuver was coordinated, every strike timed with meticulous accuracy. Humanity's patience and intelligence were now weapons as deadly as the most advanced alien technology. The elite strike team, meanwhile, prepared for the most dangerous phase, infiltrating the core of the stronghold. These humans had trained for years, mastering combat, sabotage, and strategy. They boarded specialized vessels designed to bypass defenses, relying on stealth, speed, and surprise. The corridors of the enemy station were labyrinthine, filled with traps, automated sentries, and alien technology designed to repel intruders. Yet, human ingenuity proved superior. They hacked security systems, bypassed deadly traps, and moved silently, striking with precision. Every action was calculated, every decision reflecting both skill and courage. Inside the stronghold, the Alien Council's operatives were unaware of the approaching threat until it was nearly too late. They had believed that humans, despite their recent successes, could not breach the inner sanctum of their command. Yet, the humans were already inside, neutralizing key defense systems and creating chaos among the alien forces. Panic spread quickly as the operatives realized that their carefully constructed fortress was being systematically dismantled. The humans' combination of strategy, adaptability, and fearless execution had shattered the illusion of invulnerability. The confrontation reached its peak in the command chamber, the central hub where the assassination had been planned. The elite strike team faced the operatives in a battle that tested every skill, every ounce of courage, and every tactical decision. Alien operatives were powerful and well-trained, but human determination and ingenuity proved overwhelming. They used the environment to their advantage, turning traps against the enemy, exploiting weaknesses, and coordinating attacks in perfect harmony. Every move reflected humanity's resilience, creativity, and ability to adapt under pressure. Meanwhile, the outer human fleets continued to engage alien reinforcements, ensuring that no help could reach the command chamber. Strategic strikes disabled communications, power relays, and energy shields, isolating the inner stronghold and giving the strike team a clear advantage. The aliens' assumption that humans could only respond reactively had been proven disastrously wrong. Humanity was not only reacting but taking the initiative, dictating the pace and outcome of the conflict. The battle in the command chamber was intense and personal. The humans fought not only for survival but for vengeance and justice. Every move, every strike, every maneuver was infused with the memory of the fallen leader and the unyielding will of the human species. The operatives, though skilled, could not anticipate the humans' adaptability. Time and again, human ingenuity turned disadvantage into opportunity, setbacks into strategic gains. The fight was fierce, but the humans' determination could not be broken. Finally, after a grueling and tense confrontation, the operatives were defeated. Their control over the stronghold collapsed as humans seized command of the systems, neutralized remaining defenses, and ensured that no further threats could emerge from within. Humanity had not only avenged their leader, but also demonstrated that they could challenge the galaxy's most powerful and cunning enemies. The victory was a testament to human courage, intelligence, unity, and the relentless pursuit of justice. The aftermath of the confrontation left the galaxy in awe. Humans had not only survived but had achieved what many had considered impossible, penetrating the heart of an alien command structure, defeating its elite operatives, and emerging victorious against overwhelming odds. Across Earth and its colonies, celebrations were tempered by reflection, as humans recognized both the cost of conflict and the incredible strength of their species. The fallen leader's vision had been realized. Humanity had united, adapted, and risen to face threats far greater than anything they had imagined. This final confrontation marked a turning point in galactic history. Humans were no longer seen as a minor or insignificant species. They had demonstrated resilience, courage, intelligence, and the capacity to challenge even the most advanced civilizations. The memory of the assassination that had sparked this conflict became a symbol, not of weakness, but of the unbreakable human spirit. Humanity had faced overwhelming odds and emerged stronger, ready to defend its place in the galaxy and ensure that no force, however powerful, would ever underestimate them again. The battle for survival had ended, but its echoes reverberated across the galaxy. Humanity, once underestimated and dismissed as a minor species, had not only survived the assassination of its leader and the massive alien retaliation, but had emerged victorious in a conflict that had tested every aspect of its strength, ingenuity, and resilience. The victories were not just military triumphs. They were proof of humanity's spirit, a testament to what a united species could accomplish when faced with existential threats. The galaxy had taken notice, and humanity's place among the stars had been irrevocably changed. In the aftermath, Earth became a hub of rebuilding and reflection. Cities that had been damaged by orbital skirmishes and alien bombardments were repaired with speed and precision. Engineers, scientists, and laborers worked tirelessly to restore infrastructure, not just to pre-crisis levels but stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Spaceports and orbital stations were upgraded with improved defenses, energy shields, and rapid response systems. Every repair and innovation carried a message. Humanity would never be caught off guard again. The sense of determination that had driven the battle now fueled a renaissance of technology and cooperation. Across human colonies, similar efforts were underway. Remote planets and space stations, previously focused on survival, now became centers of innovation and strategic development. Lessons learned from the battles against the alien fleets were carefully analyzed, recorded, and taught to new generations of pilots, engineers, and strategists. Training programs incorporated the experiences of combat, intelligence operations, and crisis management, ensuring that humanity would be ready for any future threats. The legacy of the struggle was becoming the foundation of a stronger, wiser, and more prepared civilization. Humanity's leadership, though forever changed by the loss of its leader, had proven capable and adaptive. A council composed of experienced strategists, diplomats, and scientists guided the species with collective wisdom. Decisions were informed not just by short-term survival but by long-term strategy. How to maintain unity, protect colonies, expand influence, and prevent future attacks. The fallen leader's vision of a unified, courageous, and resilient humanity had been realized, even in their absence. Citizens looked to the council with renewed trust, inspired by the extraordinary accomplishments of the past conflict and the promise of a secure future. The victory had also reshaped humanity's identity in the galaxy. For centuries, humans had been underestimated, often dismissed as clever but fragile, unpredictable but ultimately weak. The assassination attempt and the alien retaliation had been intended to confirm that belief. Instead, humans had demonstrated something far greater: intelligence, courage, creativity, and an unbreakable will. News of the final confrontation spread quickly across distant civilizations. Other species who had once regarded humanity as minor players now approached with a mixture of respect, caution, and, in some cases, fear. The galaxy had learned a crucial lesson. Humans were no longer a species to be underestimated. Cultural and societal changes accompanied these strategic and technological developments. Stories of bravery, ingenuity, and sacrifice became legendary, forming the basis of new education programs, literature, and historical records. Schools taught children not just about mathematics, science, and diplomacy, but also about courage, teamwork, and resilience. Museums and memorials honored those who had fought and fallen, celebrating both individuals and the collective achievements of humanity. These cultural touchstones ensured that the lessons of the conflict, and the spirit that had carried humanity through it, would endure for generations. The economic and scientific advancements following the conflict were extraordinary. Resources captured from the alien fleets, combined with human innovation, accelerated research in energy, propulsion, and defense technologies. Colonies shared knowledge, materials, and expertise, creating a network of cooperation that strengthened human civilization across the galaxy. Trade, exploration, and diplomacy flourished in ways that had been impossible before, all under the watchful eye of a species that had proven its ability to protect itself and assert its place among the stars. Equally important was the psychological impact on humanity itself. The species had faced extinction, endured betrayal, and fought overwhelming odds. Yet, through unity, strategy, and courage, humans had survived and prevailed. Confidence in their abilities, both individually and collectively, grew exponentially. People understood that challenges, no matter how daunting, could be overcome through cooperation, intelligence, and determination. Humanity's self-perception had shifted. They were no longer simply survivors. They were a species capable of shaping their own destiny and defending it against any threat. The Alien Council, though weakened by defeat, continued to observe humanity. Some factions retreated, reassessing their assumptions and strategies, while others approached cautiously, wary of provoking a species that had proven far more capable than predicted. For humans, this created a new era of opportunity. Diplomacy, trade, and alliances could be pursued from a position of strength. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted, and humanity now had a voice, respected and feared, in decisions that once seemed beyond its reach. Humanity's legacy, forged in fire and blood, extended beyond technology and military might. It was a legacy of courage, resilience, and unity. The species had faced the ultimate tests: assassination, overwhelming force, and existential threat, and had emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. This legacy became a guiding principle, shaping policies, education, and culture for centuries to come. It reminded every human that no matter the challenge, no matter the adversary, they had the strength, ingenuity, and will to prevail. As the galaxy looked on, humanity prepared for a future defined not by fear but by opportunity. The lessons of the past battles ensured that they would face new threats with intelligence, preparation, and unity. The memory of their fallen leader, the sacrifices of countless warriors, and the courage of millions had created a species ready to take its rightful place among the stars. Humanity's journey was far from over, but its legacy was secure. A resilient, united, an unstoppable force, capable of achieving greatness, defending its home, and inspiring future generations to dream bigger, fight harder, and never be underestimated.